2025 business happiness. Now, it seems like a little bit of a woo-woo subject, right? Soft and feely. But if you stick with me for a bit, I think I'm really going to help you unlock some ideas about how to get from here to the future and really unlock some value in the business, but more importantly, make it more enjoyable, which in turn may make your business more profitable, right? It's all interconnected. Today, we're going to kind of take that bigger view. I'm Shawn McBride. I'm a corporate lawyer by training. I do this channel about business advice with the consulting business that I run, McBride for Business. And our idea is to talk about business and the future of business. An important part of the future of business is you, your business, and building. And so that's what we're going to focus on today is how do we get from here to there and how do we build happiness. Now, I've had a long career with a lot of ups and downs, and I've seen happy times and I've seen unhappy times in business, right? I've been at this over 20 years. I've been practicing law, working for other people in some of the biggest law firms in the country. Multiple of those saw different situations within that. And then I've had my own law firm now in different phases for over a decade as well. So between all of this, I've got to see a lot of different aspects of the business world. And there's been good times and there's been bad times. And I think from that, I can draw some lessons. And you probably have lessons too, which I welcome you to join me in the comments with your thoughts and ideas, what you've learned from your experience. And maybe it'll inspire some future videos. Maybe it'll help another viewer or reader when they hear your experience. But I want to share my experience with you and connect the dots to your future, right? So I don't just want to sit here and talk about myself. I want to talk about myself in a way that helps you, obviously, right? That's the whole goal here of these videos on this channel is to help you get to the next level. But I think some of these things I've seen are going to be helpful. So what I've found throughout my career is this interconnectedness between alignment and happiness, right? And one of my business coaches, and I've had several over the years for different phases of my business and different aspects, one of them used to always talk about flow state and how can you get into the flow state, right? This place where you feel like you're just doing what you need to do, you're losing track of time, you're in the zone, you're not disliking things, you're enjoying things, and everything's just working, right? To get into flow state is something that, business coaches will talk about, professional athletes talk about getting into the zone during a game. And I think it's very important. And for me, when I unpack the idea of being in flow state, it aligns with having an alignment in your business, your life, your goals, where you're headed, what you're working on, right? When there's an alignment, when you know you're working on things that are pushing the things in the right direction, you're doing the things you want to do, you're comfortable with the things you're doing, you're growing, expanding, moving into the future without doing things that you really dread doing or are not adding value. When you get all of that going together for you, you're in flow state and you're in alignment and you're going to be happier and you're going to be more productive. You're probably going to work more hours without thinking about it. You're going to be nicer to your employees. You're going to be nicer to your customers. You're going to make better presentations when you get on stage, right? When everything's flowing together and you've got that alignment, you're happy, but probably other people are happy. But there's also periods of misalignment. I've been in organizations that have been misaligned, right? I worked for a law firm that actually dissolved at one point, right? Like the whole organization came apart. They actually voted to separate the law firm. And I was in a mid-level role at that point in my career. And to watch your employer shut down, it is a complete misalignment. And then not only are they in misalignment, the people you're working with are in misalignment because they're not happy with how the situation's going. They're either trying to get out or they didn't get out in time and now they feel stuck and they're still trying to get out, right? You can see how that frustration in the organization shows you a lot. And I've been in organizations that have been going through change and they're not happy with how things are changing. I've been in organizations that are very, stodgy and where they are and, different departments and different organizations throughout my professional career, both practicing law and working for private business enterprises. I've seen this. And then in my law firm, I've gone through different phases. I've experimented. I've learned. I've tried different sizes. I've tried different ways of positioning in the market. a lot of failing forward, as they say, right? Trying something that didn't quite work, keeping the customers happy, but maybe behind the scenes, the organization was not as fluid or as smooth as I would like. And then now I've kind of find ways to find alignment for myself. And as I find alignment, that creates happiness. Happiness allows me to focus on the things I enjoy, allows me to get my energy out the right ways. It allows me to interact with other people in the right ways and to continue to move things forward, right? So everything builds around having everything in alignment and moving forward, and you have to have plans. Now, that is not to say that you're not going to have periods of misalignment, right? It is natural. And in fact, the market is going to force that, right? For better or worse, to the extent that we still even have a capitalist system here in the US. And comment below if you want me to go deeper on that. I think I've alluded to that in some of my other videos. But we have a lot of government intervention here in the US. We've kind of lost some of the capitalist flavor, but we still have it there. And in a capitalist system with creative destruction, as Adam Smith would call it, we have things that are going to work and not work, and the market's going to evolve. And right now, with AI, with changing roles, changing demographics, people retiring, different generations entering and exiting the workforce in different ways, man, there's a lot of things that could be misaligned, right? And there's lots of reasons to be frustrated and not feel like the pieces are fitting, right? And I can feel it, you can feel it, right? Sometimes it just doesn't feel right. And I'm not saying you can avoid that, right? There's almost no way that you can build yourself to where you're not going to have moments of frustration. Anybody tries to sell you that you're never going to be unhappy and that everything's always going to be perfect, either they're just some superstar that has some incredible abilities that never had to deal with the realities of business, or they're just trying to get your money and they're selling you a bill of goods, right? When I sit down and talk to my clients, it is often a discussion of what's realistic and the frustrations and the pains and everything that's going to happen to get from point A to point B. And some people want to go on the journey and some don't. And I think it's fine if you look at some of these frustrations and you don't want to go on the journey. Most of us here, and I imagine if you're still watching this video, you've decided to go on the journey of being a business owner, being a business leader, trying to push through, right? You're committed to this exercise. And unless something drastic changes, you're going to find a way to make it work, right? And that's my attitude towards business and life, right? We're going to have moments of misalignment. There's just no avoiding that. And the economy is going to come. And, if you look at this U.S. economy here, we've had years of these low interest rates that are artificially low until recently. We've had a lot of government manipulation, a lot of stimulus programs, a lot of propping up banks, propping up certain businesses that have created artificial conditions. And my theory, from the economics I've studied, from listening to other people, and from my analysis of the whole situation is, that is still coming to roost, right? We are still dealing with all of the inefficiencies and the complexities. And that's why a lot of people are frustrated. And maybe you're frustrated. If you're frustrated and you're open to talking about it, let me know in the comments about your frustrations with this system and why it's not working for you. Because a lot of people are putting in the hours, they're doing the work, and they're not getting the results they promise, right? A lot of people think that we are sitting now in a time where the next generation is going to have a lower standard of living than the prior generation. And a lot of people don't even want to acknowledge that, but that is the reality, right? Everything costs more. And because of, just different changes in the economy, taxation levels, regulations, it's very, very hard right now to just, be this amazing success where you can, do what a family in the 50s could do here, even in the US, right? Where you had one person working, you could raise multiple kids, have a car, and still live a decent lifestyle and go away on the weekends, right? We had that, and now we need two people working in many households to get to that level, right? We need multiple people to support that infrastructure, right? And that is frustrating in itself. And then you see people running around the internet telling you how great the world's going to be without doing the work, right? They've either just, had a horseshoe in the right place, and they suddenly became super successful. They just tried the right thing. They had the right mentor. Some magic thing happened, and it opened up the livelihood for them. But many of us, you and me probably, we're doing the work. But we need to think about happiness, and happiness is something we're entitled to, right? It is something we're allowed to have. They cannot take that from us. They can try to take a lot of things. They can try to make things difficult for us, but we're entitled to be happy, and we're allowed to have happiness. We're allowed to find the balance that we need, and that requires that examination every day of where am I going, and how do I create alignment? And just that simple exercise of sitting down and building that bridge and thinking about the alignment is going to get you from point A to point B. So take the time, do the exercise, sit down with a business coach, right? I mean, I've done a little bit of coaching over the years, and it's a fun exercise to be the coach and to help people get there, right? And on the flip side, if you're struggling, calling somebody who has experience, who has knowledge, who's been ahead of you, who just has an outside philosophy, may help a lot. You know, and I think a lot about coaching in the professional sports, for instance, right? There are people that know things. They can't necessarily do things, right? I watch a lot of auto racing. I watch football. You know, a lot of times the coaches are a little bit older. They're more experienced. They're not necessarily on the ground doing the things that the athletes are doing, but they have the perspective. They can see things that the people right up in the middle of things can't see, right? And, you know, the NFL coach can't go in there and throw the pass that needs to be thrown, but he can help the quarterback see how to run the play and what the defense is doing and how to work through that. And so consider, if you're not happy, if you're frustrated, you know, invest some time, invest some resources, get a good coach, and really step things up to the next level. You're entitled to happiness. And I think happiness starts with a good plan. So start thinking about how can you get that fundamental alignment. Let me know in the comments what questions you have, what you'd like to see in future videos. Consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys for another video soon.